Joseph wore a fancy coat. Every single day, that coat reminded his brothers of one simple truth. Their father Israel loved Joseph more than the rest of them. So they hatched a plan. Let's capture Joseph, sell him into slavery, and convince our dad that he was eaten by a wild animal. And that's what they did. Their father didn't love them any more than he did before, but Joseph was gone, and that was enough.
This story from Genesis 37 is a classic story of envy. But to understand the inner workings of envy and why it's so deadly to the soul, you have to understand how it's different from its close cousins, jealousy and covetousness.
So what's the difference between envy and jealousy? Theologian Rebecca DeYoung puts it this way. Although we commonly use jealousy and envy synonymously, jealousy differs in that it refers to the condition of loving something and possessing it, and then feeling threatened because the loved thing or person might be taken away.
So, if someone is flirting with their spouse and you get jealous, no, you don't own your spouse, but there is an exclusivity to your commitment. The covenant that you belong to one another, that's being threatened. This person you might love is being taken away. That's why the Bible actually describes God as being a jealous God. When his people are flirting with other gods, he is jealous for their love. The Bible never describes God as an envious God.
Right, and that's because envy has nothing to do with something or someone being taken away from you. It's all about you taking something from somebody else. But what is the envious person taking? Well, to get to that, you need to know the difference between envy and coveting. Both envy and coveting want something that someone else has. The difference is that when you covet, you want some object or position. You want the car your neighbor has. You want the promotion your colleague just got. But when you envy, you don't just want the car. You want what the car means about how cool or successful you are. Specifically, how much cooler and how much more successful you are than your neighbor. You don't just want the promotion. You want to be recognized as more competent and valuable to the company than your colleague. You see, Joseph's brothers didn't want his coat. They wanted what the coat meant. The love of their father and prestige in the family. They wanted to be better than Joseph.
You see, envy is not about stuff. It's about identity. What does it say about me that this person is better looking than I am? What does it say about me that this person's family seems happier than mine? Or that they're further along in their career? Or that they don't seem to struggle like I do? Paying attention to who we envy and what we envy them about, that will tell us exactly where we derive our self-worth from. That's why the virtue that combats envy in us is the virtue of contentment. Not so much being content with what you have, but rather being content with who you are. Learning contentment with who you are means that you don't play the comparison game anymore. You don't define your value over against anybody else. The contented person knows who they are, is aware of their gifts and talents as well as their limitations and flaws, and they have a deep sense of worth anyway.
So how do you learn this virtue of contentedness and shut down the voice of envy in your life? As Christians, we believe that you do that first and foremost through faith in the good news that you are so incredibly loved by God that the Son of God himself was willing to die for you. And when you steep yourself in your belovedness, the fact that the creator of the universe values you that much, not for what you have or for what you've accomplished, but just because he loves you, you strip out the fuel that envy needs to burn.
In the next video, Betsy is going to share the practice of examine that can help you become more and more content and quiet the voice of envy in your life.